back in the studio here, I have joining me the candidate, the governorship candidate of the United Democratic Party, UDP. He once contested in the last governorship election. He was also the candidate of the party in the governorship race. This time around, he's going to contest again, and he's saying that he's a face of hope for the people of Anambra. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Godson Okoye. He's actually a legal practitioner. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Let me ask you, you said that in some of the things that you have put in the public domain, you said power must shift in Anambra State.
Yes.
Why do you think you are that candidate that that will give hope to the people of Anambra State?
Thank you very much. That's a very interesting question. In Anambra State, like in all other states, you have 3 senatorial zones. Yes, there may not be a concrete arrangement as to zoning, but in the current situation where the present governor is from Anambra Central, and the former governor, Chris Ngige, also is from that place, and is on record. He was governor for at least about 3 years before the court said that he should give way. Now the present governor is getting to 8 years. So if people from that zone are jostling for power, it's going to be very difficult to convince anybody that you want power to stay in a senatorial zone for 19 years.
So that's your reason for...
That's why I'm saying it has to shift. Therefore, the shifting, it may be to the north, it may be to the south. Now, if you are talking about where it shifts, you now have to bring the indices of what the candidates you have to be qualified to rule. You know, where you come from should not be the only reason why you should be allowed to be governor. You have to be mentally prepared. You have to have the experience. You have to have a vision for where you want to take the people to. It's not a matter of, oh, yeah, I'm from here, then. And to an extent, that's part of why we have problems in the country. If you talk about, okay, for our character, you talk about zoning, okay, even if it's going to be zoned, bring somebody that is competent, bring somebody that is qualified, bring somebody that has the requisite experience in the terrain that we're talking about. You could have a PhD in mathematics, and we're talking politics. They're different. You could be a billionaire, successful one.
So you think you have all these criteria of being governorship candidate, I mean, governor of Anambra State?
Correct. I believe I do have. But you believe you do have, fine. The people will also have a say in that. In that, I've been in politics. I'm a lawyer of 25 years coming. I was called to bar in 1988. And 25 of those years, I've practiced politics about 23 years. I've been in the political terrain. I have occupied political party positions, even during the military era, when it was difficult to even participate in politics. And as a matter of fact, I participated in the writing of the transition that brought this republic to be. Because I was at that meeting where Abdul Salam said, politicians, we're tired of arguments and recriminations. Each time we do a decree, you say it's the military that threw it down. Politicians, write us this decree. I can just tell you almost how he said it.
All right. Now, tell me, you were saying that you have the criteria, I mean, you have all the qualities of being the governor of Anambra State. Tell me what you said, power must shift. And do you think that is just zoning concept that, brings about that idea of power must change hands that you were talking about?
No. Well, what we are saying is not just that, just like you have a governor from a particular place, it doesn't mean other people from other areas are also not qualified to be governors. It's only a matter of being given the opportunity. Like I said, the zoning or where you come from should not be the only criteria. People are going to look out for other things, your qualities, your experience, your background. These are the things that will tell what you want to do, and above all, what is your vision? What vision do you have? So what is the goal? What's
your major quality that makes you think that you are the right candidate?
By virtue of the fact that I'm a lawyer, lawyers have been agents of change in every society. A lawyer knows practically everything, something about every field of endeavor. Therefore, it is the lawyer's position to do the balancing act between what is available and what should be available to achieve where you want to be.
So does it mean that if there is no lawyer in the scheme of things,
that's not also what I'm saying, but I am saying by virtue of that fact, you are mentally and academically prepared for that. That is one part of it. And of course, being a lawyer, it doesn't mean you must be a politician. There are so many lawyers that are not interested in politics. You have to have the interest. And you have to have the vision. And you have to have the interest of the people at heart. And you need to do things that will endear you to the people. That's what is these are the things that you should look at.
So tell us about your plans for Anambra.
Well, in a very simple way, I've said you need one person of vision plus 21 men of goodwill and shape. Then you have government with human face. What I want to do in Anambra is to have government with human face. We are tired of government of statistics. I mean, governing Anambra State is not rocket science. Like I said, the 3 sequential zones, you can round it up in less than 1 or 2 hours. So it's not like a place that is so huge that you don't know what it is. But it is your ability to understand what the problems of the people are and how to tackle them.
So what's the major problem?
Like I said,
what's the major problem of your people?
The problem is putting things in their proper perspective. And fundamentally, it goes to security. We don't have security in the place. We must provide security. And that is the fundamental and primary reason for governance.
How do you hope to achieve it?
How you hope to achieve it? That's what I said. There has to be an integrated version of doing it. You have to have data collection. You have to make use of, I mean, we have a lot of retirees. You have them in the police, you have them in the Navy, you have them in the Air Force, you have them in the Army. That are all citizens of the state. You interface with them. So a lot of them retired, yes, but are not too old not to function. You interact with them. But above all that, you need proper education that is grounded on morality, civic duty, and responsibilities. You have to build the society from the ground up. Now, when you educate people properly, it reduces the kind of crime that you are expecting them to commit. And then by the time you fall back on these well-trained people, I mean, the experiences, you make use of them, and retrain all the security operatives that you have in the state. Yes, they have their fundamental training, but because of the terrain, you also have to educate them in a particular way. And then you are going to also energize and revitalize the kindred segment of society. If you get down to the basics of the society, the kindred, once you strengthen that, the family units will get stronger. And children are going to be restrained from doing certain things.
Do you have a manifesto?
Of course I do have a manifesto.
So what does it look like? Can you summarize it?
I have something here, and that's what I call SHAPE. That is security.
How many points are your manifesto? 5.
Okay. We have just 5, and which may be programs.
Thank you for having a short one.
Yes.
We've seen so many long manifestos.
Yeah. You see, when you have SHAPE, it means SHAPE of Anambra State. SHAPE for short, that is security, health, agriculture, power, education. By the time you do these 5 and do it well, it will create the multiplier effect you need to reposition the state, reposition the economy of the state for growth and put it back where it is. So by the time we look at all these things, you don't need a whole lot of bags of degrees or chains of degrees to run a state. And you also don't need all the money in the World Bank to be there. And so, I mean, we have a mixture of roles in Anambra State, and that's part of the problem, and that's why there's insecurity.
All right. Let me ask you, are you fortified in every sense of the word in terms of have you been armed enough to run for do you have everything you need to run for the governor?
Of course, nobody has everything he needs to run for office. That's why you have to reach out to people. That's why you have to talk to people, because people are strong in different ways. Somebody could have money to say, okay, and I can assist you with this. But you may also need somebody that can assess him to say, okay, these are the things this guy can do.
So you have financial backers.
Now, if you have...
You have financial, you have sponsors.
No, I don't have sponsors, strictly so-called. Like you say, okay, I'm throwing my money behind this guy. No. And that's part of the change we want to bring about. If all Anambrarians can come together and say, okay, look, we have to put money in some certain level to make sure that good people emerge. Like Aristotle said, democracy depends on good men, not rich men, not educated men. It's a good men. So if you have people that are good and you put them in power, the loyalty is in fact split. But when you have just one person sponsoring somebody, I mean, he's just only one person he's loyal to. And if you can get rid of that person, he is loyal to no one.
You lost in the last election.
Yes.
What gives you the confidence that you can win this?
Well, like I think it was Winston Churchill that said, courage is not absence of fear, but it is the ability to go from failure to failure without being afraid, with enthusiasm. That is what makes courage. I have the courage. I have the educational backing, and I have the experience. It's only a matter of opportunity. It's only a matter of time.
But do your people know you?
Of course, I mean, they do know me, but they don't know me. They may not know me as a governor because I've never been governor. But
what I mean is, do you have the popularity enough to get enough votes for you to emerge winner in this election?
Well, it's not something you can stay in the studio and say you have the popularity to win the election, and that's why there are elections. Elections are like exams.
Let me ask you, what do you feel about the government of the day in Anambra State?
Well, the governor has done his best. And but as far as I'm concerned, his best is not good enough for the state.
What do you mean?
Because he has been flying without wings. You play politics without politicians. And that is what we are going to replicate. That's what he's attempting to replicate in Anambra State. You can't, if you're not a footballer, you have no business being in the football field. If you're not a boxer, you have no business being in the boxing ring. So when you keep saying, I'm not a politician, but you're playing politics, what are you doing? That's a contradiction in terms. So in terms of your brain power, there will always be that conflict. Now, he has said so many times, and I mean, I've watched it. I've watched it in his actions and all that. When he won, I congratulated him, and I told him, I said, you need to consult with people. Even if you're doing the best of things, there is that room for consultation. I mean, even Christ, and after 3 years, he asked the apostles, who do men say that I am? That's consultation.
Let me ask you this question just before we go. Are you in this election to win? Or you're just in this election to make an impact?
Well, who says? I mean, like I've told so many people, who will be governor of Anambra State is in God's hands. Nobody can tell you, as of today, that it's going to be Mr. A or Mr. B. Just like all things, power belongs to God. He gives it to whom he wills. So as we go towards that election of November 16th, whoever it will be, it cannot categorically be stated right here and by anybody. And if anybody is saying that, it will be a grievous mistake.
Thank you so much for joining us, Barrister Godson Okoye.
Thank you very much.
You've been talking with Barrister Godson Okoye. He's the governorship candidate of the UDP in the forthcoming Anambra governorship election. It's going to happen in November the 16th. And when that time comes, he says that the person who will become the governor of Anambra State is in God's hands. By then, we may be able to get the feeling or know who that person is.